everyone, and welcome back to the Friendly Vet channel on YouTube, and thanks for coming back. I know it's been a while since I uploaded a video, or maybe not, because you might be seeing one different one before this after my break. How'd you like my pink hair? I used to think that it was not professional for vets to have coloured hair for ages, so I just kept my normal hair colour. But I've decided that actually I don't think anyone cares. So here we go. Just living my best life, as they say. Roast me in the comments if you think vets shouldn't have coloured hair. So welcome back to this channel. The idea of the channel, if you don't know, is just education for you and to help you help your pets the best way possible, in a friendly sort of, yeah, just conversational manner. So today we're going to be doing a video which I planned ages ago, back in like July and August, called avoid this one thing with your pet this summer. But as you can see, as you can know, it's not summer anymore. It's like October. So avoid it next summer, because you've probably, hopefully already avoided it this year. But if you had some problems, go ahead and let me know how that went for you. So what do you think it is? This thing is probably, you know, the most common reason for, I would say, yeah, the most common reason for an unexpected vet visit during the summer months. And it can present as an emergency, it can present as something that's been going on for like a few days, not quite right, not sure what's going on, or it can in some cases be life-threatening. So yeah, pretty bad what it is. What do you think it is? Did you guess? It's this. If it's in focus, I saved this since the summer just for you. It's pretty much hay now. But it's the grass seed heads. And these are just such a nightmare for your pets. They can cause all kinds of horrible problems. So mostly we're talking about dogs here because they're the ones rooting around in the grass, but it can affect cats and other animals as well. Usually with cats, actually, the most common problem to have with grass is if they inhale a piece of grass and it gets stuck like at the back of their throat, or they can inhale these grass seed heads as well, and that can cause a lot of problems, basically kind of choking on that at the back of their throat. But mostly you see it with dogs, so they can get them stuck in their ears, which is obviously incredibly painful, and usually within a couple of hours, by the time the pet owners come to us to get it sorted out, the seed has already penetrated the dog's eardrum, which, as you can imagine, is extremely painful, and if it's not removed pretty much straight away, then it can cause really bad infection, especially if the eardrum's ruptured. It can cause a middle ear infection. Obviously that's right next to the brain. That can cause all kinds of problem with like losing balance, everything like that. And in severe cases, they could even lose their hearing permanently if it's not treated. So pretty bad on that one. Most common dogs you'll see having it in the ear is obviously any dogs that have fluffy ears. So we're talking about spaniels, pretty much. These are like a spaniel's worst enemy, because they've got the fluffy ears, but they've also got the fluff around their toes, which is probably the next most common place to have a problem with this. So they just get caught in the hairs around the toes, and then they just, if you don't spot them straight away, they will just make their way closer and closer, and even just through the skin, and then they will sit sort of like here on your dog's foot, under the skin, and cause a really bad irritation, infection. So you might just see that your dog's licking around that area a lot for a few days. There might be a bit of swelling, there might be some pus coming out, and then obviously you want to get it straight down to the vet to get that removed. And it can be pretty tricky to remove from that area, especially because this is a location where people may not notice it for a couple of days, and then by that time the grass seed kind of turns into mush basically, so you never really know whether you've got the whole thing out or not. But all you can do is flush everything out, flush out the abscess, the infection that's present, and antibiotics, and hope for the best, really. Another common place to get these nasty grass seeds is for them to be inhaled, and my dog Toasty actually had this problem. So he snorted up a grass seed into his nose. Apparently there was something really interesting that he needed to smell on that particular piece of grass, and it just went straight up into his nose, and he just kept sneezing and pouring his face, etc. So the next morning I took him into work and sedated him and removed it from the nose, but it was actually pretty hard even to get that out, and he bled a lot after that, which was very sad, but luckily we got it out before it caused any kind of infection or something like that. So it can cause, if it was left, obviously really bad infection in the nostril area, which could lead to a lot of problems. And then if it's inhaled even further back, so let's say it goes all the way into the lungs, then that can be causing some really big problems. And the worst part about that is when it goes through into the lungs. Basically, because it's very small and there's not the end of the lungs, like the end point where it would go if it went all the way through, like all the bronchi, the tubes of the lungs are really sensitive, but if it went all the way through to the air sacs, which is the alveoli, it's not actually that sensitive, so you actually don't see that much coughing anymore, which is a problem because then you don't know it's there. So they just carry on as normal. You might not know there's anything wrong with them until all of a sudden they develop pneumonia, so severe chest infection, and obviously that can be a life-threatening situation, and depending on the dog they might need to be admitted to the hospital, intravenous antibiotics, etc. Or it can go another way where it goes, it makes its way through the alveoli, through the lungs, into the space between the lung and the ribs. So there's meant to be just like a small amount of fluid in there that just helps to sort of allow things to move smoothly every time that the animal takes a breath. But obviously if there's a foreign object in there, then it can cause irritation and it can cause infection, and you can get something that's called pyothorax, where you get pus building up in that area, and you can get so much pus building up there that the lungs can't inflate properly, and obviously your pet's can be struggling to breathe. So that's probably the worst thing that can happen because of these grass seeds. So they can get in that area, cause that infection, and then all of a sudden, from not even having any symptoms, no coughing, etc., anything like that, to your pet being, in a life-threatening situation. And a lot, would I say a lot? Yeah, quite a few of those dogs don't actually make it because the infection at that point is so severe. That's not all they can do as well. They can also go under the skin at really any point on the body. I've seen one once where the grass seed went in to the skin on the back, and it caused the abscess that went down so deep that it went all the way down to the bones on the spine, which you can imagine you do not want infection and pus and everything like that building up there. That dog did actually survive, which is great, but required a lot of intensive treatment and was probably extremely painful for the poor thing. So yeah, I mean, if I were you, probably stay away from these. I don't allow my dogs to run off the lead in long grass. I'll always supervise them really carefully, make sure they're not sniffing too hard on these or anything like that after last time. Luckily for me, my dogs have a smooth coat, so not too much of trouble of the grass seeds getting into their fur and getting trapped that way. But if you do have a long or curly haired pets, then make sure after every single walk in the summer, even if you don't really remember going through any grass, just have a quick look between the toes, especially underneath, if they have droopy ears, around there, around the mouth, all over the body really. Just have a good check over, I mean, the grass seeds aren't the only things that can get caught in their coats. I'm sure you know if you've got a long or curly coated dog, so make sure you check for those. And obviously if your pet's showing any symptoms like pain on the foot, swelling, excessively licking it, and if swelling is on the body, obviously scratching at the ear, sudden onset of pain in the ear after a walk, or any coughing, sudden onset of coughing or sneezing after a walk, make sure you get your pet to the invalid vet as soon as possible. So if it is something like this, then you can get rid of it before it turns into a life-threatening problem. So that's all I've got to say about those. I hope you found that interesting today, and let me know, like I said, in the comments if you have had any problems this summer with the grass seeds. Tell me how much you hate them, because I really hate them as well. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.